Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to the Big Mouth Daily Live, and thank you for that first like on this live. So this is the Big Mouth Daily. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and we're starting off today's daily discussion about Christopher Nolan's Betrayal. Why are we discussing this? Listen, I believe the Warner Brothers are not to blame for the problems with the DCEU if you see it being a problem. Or with Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder actually can only be who Zack Snyder is, right? So you know who he is, right, before you get involved with him, right? It was Christopher Nolan who brought him in. The question I'm asking this morning, why didn't the geezer just bloody direct Man of Steel? It was his friend, his co-writer on the Dark Knight trilogy who came up for the idea for Man of Steel. His idea. They co-wrote the story. What makes more sense? Snyder doing it or Nolan doing it? He claims he didn't have the know-how to do the effects, right? It's an interesting idea, right? We guide the story and Zack just directs, but Zack doesn't just direct anything. He wants his way on everything. So things change very quickly. That's Zack Snyder. In fact, I have seen the first the first 15 minutes, is it, of Army of the Dead. Very impressed. By the way, I also saw a video, Snyder talking about the history of his career, which was very, very interesting. We may discuss that after this discussion, and I'll be reading a few articles like I normally do on the Big Mouth Daily. And so Snyder can only be who he is, but it doesn't make sense to me. If you're Christopher Nolan, why don't you want to direct this beast, right? You've done Batman, do Superman. You know, bring your Batman into that world. We've had this discussion before, but it's bugging me so much as more and more discussions happen about Snyder in the DCEU and what went wrong and what went right. And I think the wrong thing was that Nolan should have just made this movie. Nolan should have picked films to direct in this franchise and brought in the right people to direct movies and kind of develop these other DC characters. Now, I love Zack Snyder. I think he's a really interesting guy and creative. I like the way he makes his movies. It's interesting, it's unique, it's random, no question. He's very different. Different isn't bad. But we're talking about the DC IP here. And the DC IP must be for as many people as possible, for everyone. For DC fans that have been buying these comic books for many, many years. Not just for me, who's barely ever picked up a comic book, right? And is falling in love with this universe through live action. It's for me, of course it is. But those people who've been buying these comics for 20, 30 years, maybe 5 years as children, I don't know, have been keeping this IP afloat. They deserve to be listened to, right? Now, we know that Christopher Nolan's not very interested in comic books. We know that, right? David Goyer is. David Goyer's written stuff, graphic novels for DC before. So we know his knowledge. So he wrote a great script. Man of Steel is a great movie. Visually, it's beautiful, thanks to Zack Snyder. So obviously the idea from Nolan was Snyder's visuals and our story. That's actually a really good idea. If you can just get Snyder just to direct, that would be a great career move for him. But Zack Snyder doesn't just want to direct, understandably. He wants to guide the story he's involved in. He wants to write and direct his own movies. So in the end, it became a beast of different architects, if you like, a building from different architects. Christopher Nolan, David Goyer, and Zack Snyder. So Man of Steel is a pretty neat film. The action is so visceral and beautiful. I've told you guys and girls before that after we get to the end Daily Planet scene, it's like I'm coming down from Speed or something. I want more action. I want more Snyder action. I can't handle this talking, because it's so great. So it's such a great film. It's an adrenaline-fueled film. It's an amazing film. I think that's probably one of the best paced films of all time. And it starts slow. It gets faster and faster. And it looks amazing. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia Glazers out. Hello, bro. Kurt, I'm very angry. I will not be taking it's the players, it's Fred. Oh, Lord Harry wasn't there. Our manager isn't got everything in his toolbox to be a great Manchester United manager at this point. He's one of the best counter-attacking managers in the world, but he's only got an A game. He hasn't got a B game, and he's dropping the best goalkeeper in the world. And I'm so upset. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia Glazers out. Me too, bro. So if you want the Glazers out, I agree with that. But Ollie is their man, and he has no place in this club. I'm sorry. And I'm sick and tired of high-profile people who run fan channels trying to get away from the subject of the manager. Leave Fred alone. Fred is a really good player. How dare you? Bailey's a really good defender. How dare you? Lord Harry, right? They're playing Henderson because the FA are pressuring them because they want Henderson to play for England, right? A bit like how the FA pressured Sir Alex to kind of opt out of the FA Cup. Do you remember that? And they all wanted us banned from future FA Cups. But anyway, you should not be dropping De Gea, right? His substitutions are shit at the wrong times, sometimes the wrong people. So I'm sorry. And let's go back to Harry Maguire. If we say he's Lord Maguire, right, why did he play him for so many back-to-back games, right? Why? Why didn't he give him a rest sometimes? Then he wouldn't be injured, right? He is a counter-attacking manager, a defensive counter-attacking manager with no plan B. Once you sit in against Ollie's teams, that's it. He has no plan B. He does not know what to do. So I'm saying, nice guy, legendary player, love the kid, always well, but you're not going to get me spurting out the shit that fan channels do. Ollie out. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia Glazers out. Manchester United fan want Ollie out. I want Ollie in, bro. Well, that's up to you. But you're going to have to explain to me why you want him in. What is he got? Do you agree that he's a defensive counter-attacking manager with no plan B? At least tell me what you think about that. Anyway, so we go. Sorry about that. I was in my fault about Christopher Nolan, and a Manchester United fan came in. I'm a big Man United fan. We were thrashed 4-2 at home against our greatest rivals, right? I'm not an elite YouTuber, so I can say what I want, right? I don't try and have to get the super chats or shite like that. This manager is a nice kid, right? Nice kid. He's done solidly for us. We're going to finish second. We're in a Europa League final, which is nothing to brag about, by the way, because he started off well in the Champions League. Then he bent over and took the knee when we should have qualified for the first knockout stage. Manny V, good morning, Mick. Great win for us, Liverpool fans. Better luck next time, Mick. That's what I think about that. I'm not a very good loser, Manny V, but I love you. I don't like your club very much. I respect your club. I respect your manager. But yes, not in a good mood. You should not be thrashed by Liverpool at home, right? It should be competitive. It could be 0-0. It could be 2-0. I don't care, right? 4 goals at home. And losing Harry Maguire is not a good excuse. Harry Maguire apparently is our best defender. Let's say that's true. That's not really saying a lot. I like Bailey, but he hasn't had many times to play, has he? So, because he's been injured and stuff, so he's not match fit. So it's not fair to have a go at him. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia Glazers out. I'm pissed off Manchester United lost, bro, now. I'm pissed off. I was always pissed off. So going back, we're going to go back and forth, obviously, if people comment about this. Yeah, so Christopher Nolan, his mate had this idea. He didn't want to direct it. But he didn't go to Zack Snyder, don't you, first of all? He went to Ben Affleck. All this thing about, oh, yeah, I went to Zack Snyder. He was the only director I wanted. No, you went to Ben Affleck, first of all, and Ben Affleck said no because he didn't feel he was capable of making a film of that stature. Manny V, Zack revealed a pic from the scene of Wayne T. Carr as Green Lantern yesterday in a live stream. You catch it. Do you know what? I just saw something on Twitter and I thought it was fake. I said, no way has he done that. So I've seen this picture. Hang on. I was clicked onto an article, but let's go back and try and see this. Yeah, here we are. So this is it. This is it, everyone. So thank you, Manny V. You may be a Liverpool fan, but you've given me good information. So this is it, if you can see it, right? You probably can't see it that clearly. He held it up on his device, right? So why has he done this? You see, he keeps on pushing and pushing, you see. He's fighting to still make these DC movies. Do you understand? Like someone who was interviewing him yesterday was trying to infer that he's fed up of superheroes. He's moving in onto zombies. Zombies is the only other thing he likes doing and that he knows. He would never choose to do zombies instead of these DC characters. He has, if they said to him, restore the Snyderverse, he would say, fuck zombies, and he'd do this. But do you know what this actually means? That he's still fighting to restore the Snyderverse. But in the same kind of glance, this is the reason they offered him to restore the Snyderverse. I believe that on HBO Max, and he said no because he wanted the keys to the kingdom. He keeps on pushing and pushing. Things like this are one of the reasons he's not going to get to restore the Snyderverse. A studio doesn't like this shit. They didn't want this in the first place, and he's releasing it to the public. This looks great. Don't get me wrong. I think one of their problems is that Ray Fisher cast this guy. Ray Fisher doesn't like them, and they don't like Ray Fisher for obvious reasons. So thanks for that, Manny V. So he looks good. He looks good. I'm not sure about the actor. Very inexperienced, and I don't think Ray Fisher should be casting for the DCEU. So that's my opinion. But yeah, looks good. Thank you for that, Manny V. But yeah, so going back to our conversation, the whole thing's a clusterfuck from the beginning because, for me, right, if I was Warner Brothers at the time, whoever was running Warner Brothers at the time, I said, look, Chris, you're obviously highly respected. You've done a great job with your first two movies so far in this Batman universe, and you're working on the third. Now, I want your Batman in this universe. I want you to direct and lead this franchise. No, I don't want to do it. Well, do you know what? You're going to have to take your friend's script and yourself and not be involved because it's all or nothing for us. If I was running WB, that's what I would have said. But instead, he brought in Zack Snyder, the director of Watchmen. Now, we know the response to Watchmen was very, very divided. People who didn't read the comics hated it. People who were passionate about the graphic novels hated it, right? So some people loved it, some people hated it. So basically like Man of Steel and BVS, it's the same kind of thing. We're going around the same thing. And, for me, it's absolutely ridiculous. So Christopher Nolan, I think, did DC fans and Warner Brothers dirty here. And I think Warner Brothers did themselves dirty. No, Chris, we want you or nothing, or we're going to bring someone else to lead this in. That's where the mistakes begun. As I say, you can't blame Zack Snyder for being Zack Snyder. I like Zack Snyder for being Zack Snyder, but he's not for everyone. And DC should be for everyone. That's why it was problematic. As much as I wouldn't want to lose Man of Steel and BVS and his Justice League movie for anything, I'm speaking imbalances. I'm talking, equilaterally. Manny V, I need to check out the director's cut of Watchmen. Do you know what? I still haven't checked it out. It's just a lot to take in, isn't it? Sometimes you really have to be in the mood, in the zone for those films. So, yeah. I'm just going to, finish off on that one and say from the very beginning, it was a big problem. And Christopher Nolan and David Goyer's script should have been rejected if Christopher Nolan didn't want to be fully into this. I think a lot of people don't like David Goyer. I think he's a very clever writer. And he has some very clever ideas. He did a good job with Krypton as well. But he's not for everyone, a bit like Snyder. But he did a good job penning Nolan's scripts, right? So it's interesting. But that's where the mistakes were made. If you want a franchise that everyone's going to embrace, you don't bring Zack Snyder in. And if Chris Nolan is not in this for keeps and doesn't want to be involved full time, then you have to bring someone else in who wants to do this. And there's so many people out there who would have cut your hand off, to run the DC extended universe, the DC cinematic extended universe. Come on. What an opportunity if you know these characters and you have an imagination. What a great universe this could have been already. Now, some people will say it's already a great universe. Snyder's films are great. Yes, but not for everyone. And that's the problem. And that's my opinion on that this morning here on the Big Mouth Daily Live. Right. I discussed this yesterday, but this is a Screen Rant article. So We're going to see what Margot Robbie actually has to say about this. Sam DeJan reviews. Did you hear Mickey Sutton said AT&T want to do Arkham Knight series on HBO Max? Mickey Sutton says a lot. What Mickey Sutton says hardly becomes true. But if that was true, Sam, I'd be very excited. Margot Robbie offers frank update on Birds of Prey 2. They keep on asking her this question, and I'll respond afterwards by Chris Agar, a screener. Margot Robbie offers a frank update on Birds of Prey 2, reiterating previous comments she's made about the sequel not being in development. Margot Robbie gives frank update about the status of Birds of Prey 2 after the actress' take on Harley Quinn became one of the most popular aspects of 2016's Suicide Squad. Warner Brothers put a number of different Harley Quinn-centric projects in development. Birds of Prey, released last year, was the ultimately one. But directed by Kathy Yan, the film saw Harley team up with other DC female characters, Huntress, Black Canary, Renee Montoya, and Cassandra Cain, as they came to blows with Roman Sionis. Birds of Prey earned positive reviews upon its release, with critics praising its performances. Action! Oh dear, and gleefully chaotic take on the Engineer. However, that word of mouth didn't translate into strong ticket sales, and Birds of Prey came out a month before the pandemic started. The R-rated film grossed just $33 million in its opening weekend and ended its theatrical run with $201.8 million worldwide against an 84 million. Look, 84.5 million. So it made a slight profit, right? Not bad. Now, we don't know how much it cost to make. I don't think it cost that. So I don't think the profit margin was that bad. So they obviously knew what they were doing was shit. So they didn't give them a bigger budget. Million production budget. Opening weekend and ended its theatrical run with a 201.8 million worldwide against an 84.5 million production budget. So that's not bad. That's not bad. That's not a bad profit. It's not, listen, that's shit money, but at least they made a little bit back. But this is why they didn't give her much. That performance led to some considering to be a misfire. It was, which could be why Birds of Prey 2 never entered development. And based on Robbie's latest comments, it doesn't sound like a sequel is in the works. Speaking with Den of Geek to promote the Suicide Squad, Robbie was asked about the future of Birds of Prey. She reiterated previous comments she made last year, stating there's no Birds of Prey 2 in the pipeline. I don't know if that is on the horizon anytime soon. I don't think it is a no. Yes, it is a no, but no, there's no sequel in the works I'm aware of at this stage. No, because your leadership, Margot, fucked everything up because your hatred for men was more important than making a great piece of entertainment. You are representing these DC characters. How dare you? Sandwich reviews. Mickey Sutton said there's Henry Cavill Superman news next week. All right, okay. This is interesting. That's exciting because we're going to wait and see what happens there then. And if I don't hear anything next week, then we know Mickey's full of shit on Mikey. Rouge Moonchild, 82 million. It cost 82 million to shoot Birds of Prey. Yes, and nearly 100 million, but that's a cheap budget, my friend, for a film. I think it was around Joker kind of budget, so at least Hamada was smart enough not to give her too much money. Robbie was a producer on Birds of Prey, we know, so it stands to reason to believe if WB was moving forward on a sequel, she'd be privy to the conversation. Actors in big franchises can typically be the last to know about upcoming projects, but Robbie's level of involvement in Birds of Prey means she'd probably be actively involved in putting it together. No, she will never be actively involved in putting any DC or Warner Bros. Project together again, unless they're imbeciles. WB does have a full slate of DC films coming out through 2023, including sequels to hit Aquaman and Shazam, as well as Matt Reeves' The Batman, in the immediate future. There isn't really room for Birds of Prey 2. Yeah, that's the reason, because there's no room, you fucking idiot, in the DC lineup. But perhaps it will be revisited at some point, not by her, down the line. Harley Quinn is a very popular character, and she should be a scene stealer in the Suicide Squad, given how beloved Robbie's performance are. The studio should want to keep her around. We will see about that, won't we? Even though Birds of Prey wasn't a massive box office hit, listen to this, its budget was far more moderate than a typical comic book adaptation. That might make it easier for a sequel to get the green light. Not with her running it, as it wouldn't need to break the bank in order to turn profit. Compared to other DC titles, Birds of Prey may not have as much widespread appeal, with the R rating limiting its potential. No. Nothing to do with the R rating. Birds of Prey and R ratings have a huge appeal, considering that the Joker movie made over $1 billion at the global box office. So stop making excuses because a female ran this film, ran it into the ground. Still has a loyal fan base that would like to see Harley's adventures with her friends continue. No, Birds of Prey must be rebooted and they must try again through Flashpoint. Especially if the Suicide Squad is well received, there might be a resurgence in Birds of Prey too. Interest? No. I want to see Birds of Prey films. I want to see female superheroes, but not with all leftists who have a hatred for men and want to tell the world how terrible we are and how pure and great they are, and they are our victims. No. Bullshit. Crap movie. End of the day. Reboot it. If she wants to remain as Harley Quinn, read the fucking words I write and shut the F up. Anyway, enough of that. Where are we? Right. Looks like we've got another blag of an article about Disney Star Wars here from Screen Rant. Disney Star Wars canon is doing all the work in connecting Lucas trilogies. This is worse than the one I read you yesterday. It can't be denied that Disney Star Wars projects do a great job helping blend George Lucas's trilogy together, creating a seamless transition. Oh, who is this? By Kevin Reedman. Thanks to projects like Star Wars, The Bad Batch animated series, and the Jedi Fallen Order video game from EA Disney Star Wars, canon is doing a lot of solid work connecting George Lucas's prequel and original trilogies of films. Prior to Disney, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, ended with the rise of the new galactic empire, while the next episode, Lucas' first Star Wars film, simply had the empire being in existence as the dominant power. In other words, they're trying to say that Lucas did a worse job at connecting the dots than Disney did, and Disney did a great job. You are fucking pathetic. While there's nothing inherently wrong with that and doesn't hurt the overall narrative of the Skywalker saga, Disney's projects set in between those episodes create seamless transition of the trilogies, adding to the saga in some pretty dynamic ways. But who asked for Rogue One? Apart from that Darth Vader moment, there was nothing to brag about there, right? It's not hard to see that the Star Wars galaxy is in two very different places in each trilogy. While the prequel trilogy focuses on the fall of the Jedi Order and the corruption of the Republic era, the original trilogy sees a subjugated galaxy struggling to fight back for their freedoms and to regain what had been lost. Maybe this is going to happen with us trying to fight for our freedoms. Now we're getting all these COVID lockdowns and they keep on changing their minds about releasing us and things like that. I think Lucas is a pioneer. This is what's happening now, isn't it? We've got a bunch of, Palpatines and Vaders leading us. However, these two trilogies are split apart by 19 years. And it's really interesting to see how Disney has fleshed out this interim period with its various projects, providing new details as to how the galaxy got from point A to point B. The problem with audiences today, the problem with creators today, they want to do paint by numbers. I don't need it all connecting. I'm not a moron. Focusing on Disney's post-Revenge of the Sith projects in particular, the new animated series Star Wars The Bad Batch is the latest source of connective material. Who did Bad Batch? Dave Filoni. Who trained Dave Filoni and who gave him his opportunity? Who did Dave Filoni learn all this stuff from? George Lucas. And it's already spoken to some of the changes the galaxy had to go through, such as the Empire's desire to replace the Public's clone armies with recruited stormtroopers. Furthermore, the Empire's methods of oppression began almost immediately with the introduction of mandatory chain codes for identification. Mandatory chain codes for identification. Where have you heard that before then? COVID passports? As well as how the Empire was set on eliminating any who opposed the new Emperor's rule, In that same vein, the Jedi Fallen Order video game features a narrative that sees Padawan survivor Cal Kestis doing all he can to navigate the darker galaxy. The Empire has made it, being hunted by Imperial Inquisitors who've been tasked to kill any and all Jedi who might have survived the initial Jedi purge of Order 66. At the same time, he's also trying to bring back the Jedi Order years before Luke Skywalker's attempt post Return of the Jedi. These new chapters set during the events of the first two trilogies do a great service in breaking down the gritty details as to how the Empire began, featuring some new reveals and sequences that many Star Wars fans very much appreciate, really. However, this isn't to say that Lucas' core films are lacking or missing anything. Thank you for that. But that's exactly what you're saying. What Disney's new canon is doing for this time period is adding more depth and dimension to the times in between the last film of the prequels and the first film of the originals, enriching the Skywalker saga as a whole. I've got an idea. Why don't we leave the Skywalker saga alone, right? You should have had Lucas do his final 3 movies, but why don't we leave the Skywalker saga alone and do something new and inventive and create new characters and new worlds from the Star Wars saga? No, let's keep on trying to enrich what's already been created because we're creatively bankrupt. Furthermore, while Bad Batch and Fallen Order are the biggest pieces of content during the post-Revenge of the Sith era, they aren't the only ones. Comics such as Marvel's Darth Vader series feature his first step in his dark armor, revealing how he reacts to the new galaxy he helped create. The Star Wars Rebels animated series, which takes place just before A New Hope, serves as great connective tissue as well, displaying elements from the prequel trilogy that still carry weight as the galaxy transitions into the era of George Lucas' original trilogy. Hopefully, the Bad Batch will continue to help bridge the 2 trilogies as it continues on Disney+, as well as the planned sequel to Jedi Fallen Order when it eventually releases. So in the past 2 days, Screen Rant have tried to give us this blag, right? This blag that Disney are doing a brilliant job. It's all blag because Kennedy is really, really worried now. And no one, stop treating us like idiots. We're cleverer than you. We're cleverer than you. We know more than you. We ain't falling for this shit. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia Glazers out. You want Ollie out or Ollie in? Sorry, bro. I want Ollie out. I want Ollie out, mate. He's not good enough to be our manager. We've got to stop being emotional. Great lad, great player, but he is an Ed Woodward appointment. He's a Glazer appointment. And it's true what some people say. It's done on purpose. We've got to stop this. We want the best players and we want the best manager. You shouldn't be crying, mate. You should celebrate him leaving and us getting a better manager. The dream is to have a legend who played for the club, run this club, and I understand that. But that's fairy tale world, and we don't live in fairy tales. We live in the real world, unfortunately. Could Lashana Lynch's No Time to Die character receive a spin-off? Oh, she'll probably just keep her 007 and we'll never get a James Bond again. Anyway, let's read this when I have my water. So Lashana Lynch's character Normie will inherit the 007 number from James Bond in No Time to Die, which is a disgrace, right? Could the newest MI6 agent receive her own film? Of course she will. By Corey Stillman. Lashana Lynch's Normie will inherit James Bond's 007 number in No Time to Die, but will she receive her own spin-off? On the surface, it only makes sense for the newest agent 007 to get her own film because all the other 00 agents got their own films, didn't they, mate? But there are several reasons of both optimism and skepticism as it relates to the possible spin-off. Lynch first joined the cast of No Time to Die in April 2019. Several months later, she was confirmed to be playing Normie, an MI6 agent who ultimately adopts Bond's 007 mantle. The announcement received some unfortunate backlash from more closed-minded sects of the Bond fan base. Closed-minded. These alt-lefts are pathetic. Someone else has got Bond's 007. That's an iconic code number. No one else should have it, right? It should be uniquely to him. But they gave it to a woman of colour. Now, I have nothing against women of colour. Let's absolutely be clear here, right? I think she's a great actor. and she can be a secret agent with another code name, right? But they're using her to replace him. Do you understand that? And they're using her to replace him because she is a woman of color, right? Do you understand? Right? That's not, you're the one with the closed mind, we're the one with the open mind, right? This is our franchise. We've kept it going for all these years. Not you, not Natasha Lynch, not Phoebe Waller-Bridge, right? But Lynch is only the latest in a long line of by POC talents to take on a role previously reserved for white men and women. Right. Like, listen, let me listen. I want you to explain, you uneducated idiot, right? I want you to understand something. Nobody cares that a black woman is in Bond. We just don't want anyone else to have that code number. Do you understand? And it's basically, it's political why she's been given that number. Do you understand, right? A black woman inheriting the 007 mantle is historic, but it remains to be seen whether or not that history will manifest into another film or remain confined to the 25th installment of the Bond franchise. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia, Glazers out. I think Ollie out now and Glazers out, bro. I agree. Manny V, you seen Invincible yet, Mick? One episode. I liked it. Manny V, if not, get on it, mate. Oh, yeah, I've seen the first one. I mean, look, I really liked it. I'm not the best thing I ever saw, but it was very good and very interesting, and I enjoyed the twist at the end. Rumours of Normie spin-off have inevitably come and gone, but there remains no official word on the status of the potential film. Lynch is expected to have a sizable role, unfortunately, in No Time to Die, but her future with the franchise is unclear. Her previous work on the MCU's Captain Marvel 2019 suggests she would be more than capable of handling a Nomi solo film. It's going to be interesting. Let me ask you a question, right? I've seen this film, right, so I know how she does, and I don't want to give out any spoilers. Is anyone actually interested, pre-seeing her, right, for a Nomi spin-off? No. I want you to see the film and answer me that question. Are you interested in a Nomi solo film from what you see in the film? Very interesting. But there may be forces beyond her control that handicap the odds of receiving such a spin-off. Eon Productions would likely love to continue the Hollywood trend of diversifying firmly established IPs. Phoebe Waller-Bridge's writing credit on No Time to Die is a historic subversion in and of itself, but spin-off films have struggled to gain momentum in the Bond universe, not to mention the COVID-19 pandemic have already stalled too much of No Time to Die. That isn't an issue with shooting anymore, all right? Stop talking shit. Momentum for the film to spawn any others. You're talking shit. Ronnie Dodge, morning. Morning, Ronnie. Several different Bond spin-offs have entered development over the years, but none have made it to the silver screen. The most high profile among the scrap spin-offs was Jinx, a solo film centered around Halle Berry. Yeah, because she did great with Catwoman, didn't she? Bond girl in 2002's Die Another Day. Jinx continues to be regarded as one of the greatest Bond girls in the franchise's history. No, she's not. But even that reputation wasn't enough to get her a solo film off the ground. No Bond girl has appeared in a second film, and while many thought Berry's Jinx would be the first to do so, it seems that distinction will soon belong to Léa Seydoux instead. Jinx was ultimately scrapped in favour of a clean Bond reboot, 2006's Casino Royale. Even Jinx wasn't the first Bond spin-off to be scrapped. However, Eon Productions considered a spin-off for Michelle Yeoh's Tomorrow Never Dies Bond girl, Wei Lin, in 1997. The film would have been featured a cameo from Pierce Brosnan's Bond, but there were concerns as to whether or not Wei Lin could carry a whole film. One can't help but sense a slight bit of misogyny. You people, really, have you seen what's going in the world? Countries bombing each other, people starving to death. And this is all you talk about. You people are the problem of this world. You shouldn't even have a voice to speak. As it relates to the studio's apprehension, oh God, both Jinx and Wei Lin are among the most successful characters to appear across the franchise's 25 films. No, they're not. No, they're not, by the way. You know nothing about Bond if you really believe this. And yet they still were deemed unworthy of a solo flick. If it is worth noting, Quentin Tarantino also briefly flirted with the 1960s set version of Casino Royale, but that never came to fruition. Perhaps most bizarrely, Tomorrow Never Dies eccentric villain Dr. Kaufman was also briefly considered a potential subject for a spin-off. So, are they being sexist towards doctors or men? No, you're not complaining about that, you idiot. While previous attempts at a Bond spin-off have come up too short, it doesn't mean Lynch's Nomi film would suffer the same fate. Jinx, for example, was abandoned largely due to budgetary concerns, but you just called them misogynists. Make your mind up. Eon also had an exciting opportunity to reboot the franchise with an actor of Daniel Craig's caliber, but no such actor seems to be on the horizon for the production company unless Anthony Hopkins wants to take them up on their offer decades later. You actually know nothing about Bond. Eon could certainly take a swing on another franchise reset as they did in 2006 with Casino Royale, but if Nomi is well received by audiences, actress Latasha Lynch just become the biggest box office draw at Eon's disposal with no future iterations of James Bond on the horizon. What are you talking about? She's saying they're not looking to bring another. Oh, is it a he? Is it a she? Nomi could be the perfect stopgap for the franchise, focusing a spin-off around Lynch's character would allow fan favourites like Ralph Fiennes, Emma, Naomi Harris, Miss Moneypenny to still appear in future Bond films, as the spin-off would almost certainly be set in Craig's Bond universe. But do you know what this SJW is really doing? Basically, this SJW is saying, but not in. He's trying to make you think that this is just temporary. He wants this female character to replace James Bond, right? Do you think we're stupid? Manny V, hilarious article. Hilarious isn't the word. Ronnie Dodge, this article is so funny. These people are pathetic. More important, not you, this bloody people here. Importantly, however, a spin-off centered around Lynch's Nomi would be historic for all the right reasons. Several contemporary reboots have aimed to assign popular characters new genders or races, and yet there does remain a worthwhile conversation to be had regarding providing the BIPOC community with new and original characters that uniquely speak to their experiences. Nomi may be adopting the 007 mantle, but she's not a new Bond. She's a uniquely crafted character who, via a spin-off film, could represent an unrepresented group on screen. You mean people of colour, the most represented people in the entertainment industry? I think not. This last bit of this pathetic little article does what I say all the time. They are talking about politics, about representation, giving people a voice. That's not what films are about. Films are about compelling people, educating people, entertaining people. I haven't heard anything in this article about entertainment because these sick people, these twisted people are taking over all industries, and they have taken over journalism and they have taken over the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry in 20 years will go bankrupt, certainly in Hollywood, and someone clever will take it over because these nut jobs are running things. Bringing in Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Daniel Craig, was a mistake. And I tell you what, I can't wait for all Bond fans to see this piece of shit. And he says in this article, right, that she's a well-crafted character. You haven't seen the film, so how do you know she's a well-crafted character? You arsehat. Pathetic, really is. Get me away from it. But this is the kind of thing that we have to put up with today, right? Because films shouldn't be about giving people's voices. People should stand by a microphone, right, and get involved with politics or stand on a stage and shout their piece. But the entertainment industry isn't really about that. It really isn't about representation and inclusion and being diverse. No. You pick the best person for the job, no matter what colour, creed, race they are. Doesn't matter. You don't go, I know, let's pick a black woman for this role. Doesn't matter. Just pick the first one you see. That's fine, right? No. This is where we're killing this beautiful industry. And you people will carry on killing this beautiful industry. And that's a fact. But as I keep on saying, I've got my physical media, and you'll never take that away from me. Thank you. Oh, my word, I need some water. Pathetic. Anyway, let's get back to DC. Titan Season 3 set photo shows close-up look at textured Red Hood costume and logo. Kieran Walters shares a new set photo from Titans Season 3 that provides detailed look at Jason Todd's textured red Hood suit and logo by Cooper Hood of Screen Rant again. Titan star Kieran Waters reveals a close-up look at Red Hood's detailed costume and logo for Season 3. The live-action series launched on DC Universe in 2018 as part of the online service's goal to become a hub for original DC content, but it's now in production ahead of Season 3 debut exclusively on HBO Max. The release platform changing won't impact the creative side of the show at all, allowing the series to continue telling the story it's set up by the end of Titans Season 2. This included Dick Grayson officially becoming Nightwing, Wonder Girl dying, and thank you for bloody telling me that I haven't even seen Season 2, all of it, dying, and Jason Todd leaving the Titans behind. Thanks for that. Don't need to watch Season 2 now, I guess. The departure of Jason Todd from the Titans won't stop him from being part of Titans Season 3. The former Robin and fellow Batman trainee will follow the comics and adopt the Red Hood identity. DC has already shared promotional images of Waters in the Red Hood costume, and the fan response to the live-action suit has been very positive. Waters has continued to feed Titans fans with more teasers of Jason Todd's new look, and that continues as production on the third season keeps rolling. Waters shared a close-up look at Red Hood's costume on his Instagram story that provides a great look at the detailed texture of the suit and its logo. The young star shared the image of the Red Hood suit while seemingly in the between takes on a night shoot for Titans Season 3. It provides the closest look yet at the costume, as previous glimpses of the suit were partially covered by a jacket that Waters is not wearing here. Check out the photo below. So this is it. Let me show it to you. This is pretty awesome. Look at that. That kind of Nike, Kieran is saying. Look at that. That is awesome, right? Can you see that? That's awesome, right? That is freaking amazing. And I could look at it all day, but I won't. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? This latest look at Red Hood's costume for Titans Season 3 shows more great work from the costume department for the series. Although there was some criticism of how some characters were designed out the gate, I actually like the designs. The show does traditionally have some stellar suits. Red Hood's look joins the likes of Brenton Thwaites' Nightwing suit, Isaiah Morales' Deathstroke suit, and others as having great designs and details and being faithful to the comics. After seeing even more of the Red Hood suit, fans continue to grow anxious for more information on Titans Season 3 and other possible costume reveals. Anna Diop's new Starfire costume was previously revealed, but there is a chance that Barbara Gordon could suit up as Batgirl for a flashback. Fans are also sure to see Tim Drake suit up as Robin once he debuts and see another live-action take on Scarecrow. As great as the images have been so far, hopefully it won't be long before a Titans Season 3 trailer arrives and gives fans a chance to see the various superhero costumes in action. So very, very exciting, isn't it? I really like the look of that Red Hood costume. Pretty comic book accurate as well. Let me know what you think in the comments beside me there, because I thought that was amazing. James Gunn is saying a mystery character. James Gunn is saving a mystery character for Peacemaker Season 2. Now, this is really, really funny, this article, because James Gunn can't help himself. He talks too much. He gets excited. So he said he's holding. He's holding a character back for Season 2. Then he had to reiterate that he hasn't, they haven't signed on yet for a Season 2. And, HBO Max haven't greenlit a Season 2 yet. James Gunn reveals he is saving a mystery character for Peacemaker Season 2, but more of the Suicide Squad spin-off show is not confirmed. By Cooper Hood of Screen Rant, James Gunn is saving mystery characters for Peacemaker Season 2. If it happens, Gunn joined the DC Extended Universe to write and direct the Suicide Squad, but that won't be the last time he works with DC. No, it won't be. He'll work with DC beyond Peacemaker. We all know that. His reboot sequel to 2016 Suicide Squad hasn't even come out yet, and the spin-off series starring John Cena's Peacemaker is already in the works. The HBO Max original show is targeting an early 2022 release, which will be only a few months after the Suicide Squad simultaneously debuts in theaters and on Warner Media's new streaming service. Gunn developed Peacemaker during quarantine and is filming the series during what was scheduled to be a planned break between the Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The show will obviously see Cena return to play the peace-loving DC villain, but it also includes other supporting characters from the movie and a few new ones. This includes introducing characters from DC Comics like Vigilante, Chris Conrad, and Judo Master Nahat Lee. However, this is one character Gunn has kept in his back pocket in case season 2 happens. Throughout his experience working with DC, WB, and HBO Max, James Gunn has repeatedly praised collaboration and freedom he's been given on Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. In response to an article about his affection for the studio, a fan asked Gunn if there were any characters he planned to include in Peacemaker, but ultimately won't appear. He confirmed on Twitter that he cut a mystery character from the show to save them for season 2. However, he later clarified that this does not mean that anyone has committed to another season of the show, so the mystery character will only appear if Peacemaker season 2 happens. It will. Check out the tweet below. Were there any characters you wanted to include in Peacemaker but ended up cutting? Yes, saving someone for season 2. You see, he can't help himself sometimes. He's let the cat out of the bag too quick, right? I love James Gunn. Love it. He's brilliant. Ronnie Dodge. Have you seen that Walter Hamada has been added as a producer for The Flash and Black Adam? I have, my friend, and I'm telling you, I think, guys, I mentioned this to you before, that he was always going to be a producer on Black Adam, and maybe someone found a piece of media where he wasn't there, or someone cut it out so it looked like, ooh, he's not a part of that. His connection with New Line Cinema is there. They're part of the Shazam universe, and he is the DC Films president. He was always going to be a producer on that film, Ronnie, and I'm surprised that people are surprised about that. Without any teases of who Gunn is saving for Peacemaker Season 2, the options are essentially limitless. There are thousands of DC characters that he could include, and Gunn has already proven a willingness to include some very obscure characters. This isn't even limited to characters who have yet to appear in the DCEU either. Depending on when Peacemaker is set in relation to the Suicide Squad, he could have had plans to include other members of Task Force X to set up the movie or tease their next adventure. Since Peacemaker Season 2 is not yet announced and Gunn's schedule is as busy as ever, there is no telling whether or not the series will go beyond the first season. I can tell you it will, by the way, journalist Cooper Hood. It is clear that Gunn has a strong working relationship with WB and DC, though, and all parties involved are confident in the Suicide Squad becoming a hit. If the spin-off series is an equally big success, which it will be, then Gunn could have time to develop Peacemaker Season 2 in a few years after his Marvel commitments are over. Then we might finally get the opportunity to learn who this mystery character is and why they were removed from Season 1. Can't wait to find out. Maybe he'll tell us one day in the future. And our final article of the day, of course, is about Mr. Zack Snyder. So let's check this one out. Oh, right. He was added as a producer on The Flash as well. He was always a producer on The Flash and Black Adam. This is not some big shock. You know, this is the president of DC Films. They have faith in this guy. They backed him. You know, and Sarnoff backed him against, you know, Ray Fisher for a reason. This is our guy. This guy is leading us into this brand new chapter. I suppose you could call it phase 2 of the DC Extended Universe. And I'm very excited. Justice League. Warner Brothers never even saw the Snyder Cut until 2019. Something that's not a surprise and not that shocking. Director Zack Snyder reveals that Warner Brothers only saw the Snyder Cut in 2019 after he counter-pitched their original proposal for the film. By the way, who saw the first 15 minutes of Army of the Dead? Who saw the Vanity Fair history video with Zack looking at his past career as well? Very interesting. Two things I want to discuss after this article. Director Zack Snyder reveals that Warner Brothers only saw his finished cut of Justice League in 2019. The Snyder Cut premiered this March to largely positive reviews from critics and fans. Introduced as a narrative redo of the original Justice League film, many viewers appreciate Snyder's deeper emotional exploration of the ensemble cast. It also received a significantly warmer welcome than the prior adaptation, which garnered a critical backlash for its underbaked plot and rushed storyline. Upon its initial release in 2017, DCEU fans quickly launched a Twitter campaign calling for Snyder to share his version of the film. The much maligned 2017 Justice League underwent multiple production issues during its shoot. Midway through filming, Snyder had to leave the project due to a family tragedy and was soon replaced by Joss Whedon. He heavily modified much of the script and called for a series of reshoots that lightened the overall tone of the movie. The significant retooling of the film left many fans dismayed and impatient to find out what could have been under Snyder's direction. During this time, the cast and crew joined the petition urging Warner Bros. To release the Snyder Cut. The online fervour gained slow but steady traction, and eventually the production company agreed to finance Snyder's vision. Well, not initially. While speaking to Vanity Fair, Snyder described the overall process of meeting with Warner Bros. He broke down how his first few conversations went with them. Read what Snyder recalled below. I said, well, can I at least come in and tell you what I think the best version of this would be? And so I went in and just kind of pitched them on finishing the movie correctly and Zack Snyder's Justice League and how he could market it and what it would mean to the fans and all that. And then they came over to my house and watched it. No one had ever seen the version of the movie, this version of the movie. They were like, okay, we're inclined to do it. While Snyder's conception of the film ultimately reached fruition, he revealed that there was some back and forth about how to proceed. Initially, Warner Bros. Suggested releasing a raw, unfinished cut of the film on HBO Max for fans. Snyder quickly rejected the idea because he knew that it would disappoint viewers, hoping for an authentic adaptation of his original script. He also acknowledged that without VFX or color grading, much of the footage would look horrible. As a result, he pitched Warner Bros. His own proposal for the new cut. Overall, Snyder's journey to showcase his artistic rendering of the beloved group of DCEU superheroes was in the end a success story. Although boasting a 4-hour runtime, Zack Snyder's Justice League remains a worthy and acclaimed event for DC fans. The stars of the film similarly thanked Snyder for returning to set with a thoughtful and nuanced narrative for their individual characters. With passion and hard work and a heavy dose of luck, Snyder achieved the kind of cinematic redemption that many storytellers in Hollywood dream of accomplishing. And that's very interesting, isn't it? Very, very interesting. The only staggering thing about this whole situation is that they wanted him to release the rough cut. Now that's interesting, and I think this is why Zack's really, really smart. He knew what they were up to. They just wanted the fans off their backs. They wanted people to see it, say, oh, it's a rough cut, it's crap, not interested. Then they could move on, right? They didn't want him to kind of garnish this film and make it look amazing as he did, because they knew what was going to happen. Restore the Snyderverse, which is happening. They're focusing on this, this new reality now. They want to move forward. They want to, they want to do this multiverse strategy. They don't want to deal with Zack's stuff anymore. They've decided his stuff doesn't work. So this is why they just wanted to release a rough cut. So it's very, very interesting. But yesterday I did see the first 15 minutes of Army of the Dead. I saw the first 15 minutes. It was quite good. Listen, I'm not into zombies, but this was great zombie stuff. And we had the guy who played Jimmy Olsen, and who was actually was actually in Smallville as well. He died as Jimmy Olsen in Batman vs Superman, and he died. He was actually killed by Lex Luthor in Smallville, as well as he was a clone of his dead brother, who his mother smothered to death while Lex was a small boy. That's Smallville. Great storytelling. And I tell you what, they actually showed a backflash. You actually see the mother do it. I've never seen that on TV before. It was so harrowing. And it was on the CW as well. So that's interesting, isn't it? Now, what year was that? Season 3. So that wasn't the CW. It was the WB. So the CW would never have allowed that. Although they did allow Lionel's wrist to come apart. Gross. So, yeah, credit to the CW. Not as bad as I once thought. So anyway, Snyder is clearly a great filmmaker. He has his strengths. And Marcus Walker, the credit sequence was mental. The use of Viva Las Vegas was great. Yeah, that is a great... Snyder loves his credits, actually. We didn't have credits in Man of Steel because proof that Nolan was running that film and not Snyder. He doesn't like opening credits on his movies. So he normally likes opening credits. That's why we got it on BVS. And that's why we got it in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, which are great opening credits, while Batfleck is, going to find Aquaman. So it's great stuff. And these Army of the Dead credits are sensational. They go on for quite a bit, which means we don't see anything afterwards. But they're really good. They're a bit similar to Watchmen, I think, in a way, in the kind of tone and kind of the narrative way they're going in. But I like the film. It's a very interesting beginning. You've got the soldiers transporting something. Do you know what? I couldn't really tell what was going on. It was really dark when I was watching it. I don't know if that was my device. I just couldn't tell what was going on half the time. But I did like the opening credits. It looks like an interesting movie, and I can't wait to see it. Unfortunately, I can't see it in a movie theatre because it's not being released in movie theatres globally. That would have been great. I think that's the next move for Netflix, by the way. But May the 21st, it releases globally. I'm very, very excited to see this film, but I'm not as excited as I would be if this was a DC Snyder film. So, you know, I will support the guy. I will keep on watching his content. He's a remarkable filmmaker. He can make things look so beautiful. He has a very interesting way of telling a story, but just because it's interesting, unique, and different, it doesn't make it bad. Things can be bad to one person and great to another. But as Zack Snyder moves on with these zombie movies, he's still trying to restore the Snyderverse. You know, it's been interesting to me that he's been in the marketing for Army of the Dead. He's spoken more about the DCEU Let me say that again. He's spoken more about the DCEU than he has Army of the Dead. That tells you where his loyalties and priority lies. He's fighting for his career here because his career cannot be defined by this zombie franchise. He wants to be back in the big time. It's DC or nothing for him because no one else is ever going to give him an opportunity because he looks like a problem. Netflix have because they don't get involved in the creativity. They put the money there, they trust who they trust, and those people do the creating. That's how it works. It's very different. That's why Zach had freedom and creativity over at Netflix because they're not interested in interfering. They know nothing about storytelling. They have no interest in interfering in the creative structure. And that's why it's best for Zach to be at Netflix. But Zach still wants the DCEU. Make no mistake, that's why he showed that Wayne T. Carr picture. I knew he would do it eventually. He may even cut it together in the film and release it. Maybe he's even got the rights to do it. Who knows what the rules are? They're confusing, aren't they? Marcus Walker, the Netflix live stream was abysmally really fuzzy, even on 1080p. There was a Netflix live stream, was there? I never saw that. I saw the opening 15 minutes on YouTube, and someone shared it, so I watched that. So I didn't watch the live stream. But then again, Marcus, you're watching my live stream, and my live streams can be horribly fuzzy, can't they? I've got shit internet. But we are talking about Netflix here, aren't we? So it should be a lot better than that. And of course, I always apologise if the quality of my internet isn't good enough for you to get a clearer picture. I do apologise. I am trying my best to improve that, but I am living in a village, so it's very difficult to get good internet. Anyway, everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's Big Mouth Daily Live. I will be back tonight around 6 p.m. UK time to have our everyday discussions. I will get on my knees and pray for some big DC news because we haven't had any for such a long time. So let's hope something breaks this afternoon because America wakes up about 2 or 3 Cypriot time in the afternoon. That's when it's morning in America. That's when all the publications come out. So I pray we get something big we can discuss. But you can tweet me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So if there's a subject in entertainment that's really getting to you or something exciting you want to talk about, please just tag me over on Twitter and let me know. That's at Movies TV Mad. Ronnie Dodge, sorry I was late. See you at 6. See you at 6, Ronnie. Thank you for turning up in the first place. Always appreciated. If you're rewatching this, comment down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back tonight at 6 p.m. live. Why 6 p.m.? Why not later in the evening? 6 p.m. UK time because I'm here in Cyprus. I tell you it in UK time so you can just translate it because it's easier. You wouldn't understand Cyprus time. So in Cyprus, when it's 6 p.m. UK time, it's 8 p.m. just after my dinner. So about 9:30, I have to take my father to bed. So this is why it's 6 p.m. UK time. So I hope that's okay for everyone. Again, try and get more people to the chat. Show them the videos, share them, tell them how awesome I am, and I'll see you tonight, 6 p.m. UK time. Remember to tag me and follow me over on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and I will see you tonight. Bye-bye.